Hello, hello, hello. We have Andrea and Ingrid in the house, and there's Shell. Hi,
Hi
guys.
guys, glad you're here to start out our February month of watercolor, water soluble media. We're going to be doing something with that type of an idea every single live stream this month, the month of February 2022. So welcome.
Yeah, we got Cindy and Nell jumping in here. Hi, hi. So I'm just putting on some art guard. I've already been painting this morning, and yeah, I didn't have art guard on. Can you tell?
Should put on some art guard for sure.
So I'm going to work. First off, I've got these H2Os, which are pots of water-soluble media. And Shell, what are you working with today?
I've got powders. I think our theme was pots and powders or powders and pots.
Yeah.
So I've got let's see, what have I got out here? I've got some Brushos, which is a powdered crystallized pigment. I've got some Kin Oliver, which is kind of the same in a different application. And then I also have some of these Magicals, which are little powder pots. And we'll see if we're going to play with those maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I pulled out a few Perfect Pearls too, because those are powders. These are my pots. So yeah, there's lots of different water soluble media out there. And use what you have. That's what we're trying to encourage here, is just use what you have. So I'm going to do some stamping because, you know, it's the month of Valentine's and stuff. So I should probably just do some of that.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the preparation for watercoloring, which I did this morning. I did some preparation, and I have 300-pound watercolor paper that I cut in 6x6, and I made 2 of them. And when you're doing true watercolor, I mean, using watercolor medium in with your mixed media, you can do anything you want. But if you really want to try to do something watercolor, you should use a heavier paper. I also have out some lighter weight paper, which I think is an 80-pound that I'm going to mess around, because I think that this lighter weight paper, I could use it in collage. I could cut out, I was messing around with these 3-dot flowers. I could cut out these bits and use them in collage, I think, because it's light enough. But this heavier paper I'll never use in collage. So what I did to prepare it is I used this sponge, and I got the sponge wet with some spray, and I went over and made a thin coat of water on both sides of the paper. And what I'm trying to prevent is buckling. And I know you all are familiar with it. You get one side of the paper wet, and it puffs up, it swells with the water, and then it buckles. And then when you're trying to do watercolor, you have pools and puddles because it's the watercolor paper is bloppy like that. So I put water on both sides with this sponge, and then I taped it down to something solid. These are my things that I put my gel plate on. This one's acrylic and this one's glass. This is an older one. This is glass from a picture frame. So if you have a broken picture frame, you can take out the glass and use it for your gel plates and for watercolor. And then what I put on here, because you know I struggle with white space, I want to fill up every single inch of everything that I do, cover every bit of white that there ever was. So I got out some masking fluid. This stuff is called Frisket. And when I bought this, I had it in my fine liner, so you could do a really fine application. But guess what? It's blobby because I barely ever use it. So I applied it with a skewer. You don't want to put this stuff on your watercolor brushes or any of your brushes because it just gums them up. It's like another thing that you could use instead of Frisket would be rubber cement. You remember that craft glue called rubber cement?
Oh, yeah.
Similar to that, stretchy crap. So I applied it with a skewer, with a wooden skewer. And the reason that I did that stuff before we ever started, I did it at like 6 o'clock this morning when I woke up, is because I wanted it to dry. So now this frisket is dry and it acts as a mask. So anywhere that I put those will be white at the end. When I rub it off, it will be white underneath there. So with the tape, I end up with the white line around the edge of the paper, and with the frisket, I end up with white in my composition. And I'm just going to try to do some abstract things was my idea. So those things are preparation before you ever start. Another thing about watercolors, you really should allow it to dry naturally. Do you know how hard that is for me?
Yeah.
If you
How
are
hard
going to
that is
blow
for
dry it,
anybody, really, you know.
oh, it's so hard. The reason I made 2 different pieces, and then I also have this lighter weight paper to mess around with, is because I want to try to, as much as I possible, let it dry. So I'm going to work in between the two. I know you can only see one at a time, and then in between that, if it's still too wet, I'm going to talk about this challenge I saw on Instagram and these 3-dot flowers. Hopefully. I'm not feeling particularly well, so if I start to cough, I'm sorry about that. But I can sit on my bottom and paint for sure. I've got enough energy to do that.
So we have more people joining us. I want to say hi to Vicki and Laura. Trying to scroll back here and see who I missed. Carol. I think I might have missed Debbie, Susan, Barbara. Hey, gang, we're glad you're here. Sybil, Minka, Nell, I think I said hi to you. So, hey, we're just, so glad everybody's here. We're just going to hang out and play today. We've got a lot that we can do with this medium, and I'm just gonna play with some of my stamps right now, and I am embossing because I like to have an embossed surface. Sometimes to hold it in, sometimes just to give that crisp edge. I like embossing powder.
It makes a great embossing resist because the embossing powder is plastic, right? So
yeah,
it resists the watercolor that you try to put over it, and it's pretty fun to do that. So I started out with wash. Of course, washes require a large, thirsty brush. This is a Royal and Langnickel Zen brush, so it's got this metallic situation going on. I'm going to set this one aside to try to let it dry a little bit while I move on to the other one. I'm just going to keep working back and forth. And I just did abstract shapes without much planning. I thought it would be fun to just make some abstract watercolors. Will I leave these 100% watercolor in the end? Remains to be seen, right? I'm a mixed media artist. Do you suppose I might leave it? Probably not. Let's be realistic. So these Brusho containers, they're from Colorcraft, and easy to find in Europe, not so easy in the United States. You can order them from Amazon. And I just poked a hole with a pin in the top rather than trying to take the top off. They're intense, intense colors. And then for each one, I made a little circle that I can put there. And I just put the push pins back in to keep the powder in there. And you can either mix them, which you might see me do in a minute, or you can just sprinkle them on. If you like the mottled look of the dots and the different stuff, you can sprinkle them on, spray them. You can put some water on first, sprinkle them on, or you can mix them. And I was messing around with mixing them earlier, so I wanted to have more color variation. But fun stuff. If you get it on your hands, though, you're doomed because it'll stain you. And if you try to use it in a mixed media application, this brusho, even if you put layers of gesso over the top of it, it still creeps through. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with that intensive a pigment if you've ever tried using, say, Diane Reevely's Dilutions sprays. They probably have brusho as their base. Something like it, because it's the same thing. You try to put gesso over the top, you're unsuccessful because it just creeps through it. And these are the same, which can work to your benefit sometimes. Just going to sprinkle some of this other color on there in a few spots. This one is Leaf. Thank you, Lisa, very much. I am trying to get better. This is my second time breakthrough of COVID, if you can believe that. I've had all my vaccinations, my booster shot, and I still got breakthrough. So I'm just doomed. I'm doomed. I think I was worn out from just being, having other situations and a little spritz on there maybe. Make it a little weird. Here we can smoosh it around a little bit and make some patterns.
Sorry, guys, I had you muted because Shell was talking and I was running the dryer and I didn't want to drown her out since her voice is not that strong yet.
No, it's not. All right, let's set this guy aside and let him dry a little bit. I'll try to get this guy back. I also have some tissue and I can kind of blot if I have like too much of a puddle somewhere. I can slurp it up. You can also do that with a thirsty brush by just getting your brush real clean and then drying it off on your towel so that it's dry, and then it will absorb any puddles. Like if I have a puddle over here, it'll absorb it a little bit. You can also lift color that way. So let's see, what colors do we want to do on these? I haven't even thought about it. But look how even just trying to lift up a little bit of that color, it's so intense. It's really bright. These brusher ones are really bright. Maybe we'll go cool colors on this one with just maybe a hint of a bright somewhere for intensity, and then warm on this with the opposite. I think that sounds like a good idea. Maybe. So what shall we try? What other colors do we have? We have Scarlet and Brilliant Red, Alizarin Crimson, Burst Orange, and Sepia. I think those would all be. Oh, and then Yellow Lemon. Yeah, these colors are all kind of yellow ochre. Maybe we'll try that one next. Let's try sprinkling it directly on and then spritzing it and see what that looks like. So I think these Ken Oliver ones, the reason they call them color burst is because they're in this little thing and you're supposed to squeeze it and let it burst out. But you know what? It's everywhere. So I'm not going to do that. You just sprinkle it on and then spritz it and let it run. See how it's got multiple colors in it? Like this is supposed to be yellow ochre, but yet it's got blue, turquoisey colors in it, a little bit of red.
I am just putting down a wash of water before I go to my pot. I want this to blend in. So I'm going to pick up some of my color, and I spritz these pots so that they're moist already. I want to make sure that the color is going to be ready to move. And that is really a dark red. That was not what I was thinking it was at all. So I might want a tissue. Nice thing about something in watercolor, if it's still wet like that, I can come and pull some of that back.
Another thing I forgot to mention, most beginners with watercolor, and I'm no pro. Do not believe that I'm a pro at this, but I do know a few things, and one of those is you should have multiple things of water so that you can clean off the pigment in one and then get clean water in another one. I've actually got 3. This one hasn't even been touched, but these are just, pickle jars or whatever, and I just fill them up with water so that I can clean and switch really easily. Let's see what this color this one is. This is sepia. I didn't have any water there, so I got to spritz it again. Well, that's an interesting one. I only want it down here, though. Though it seems to want to bleed, but that's okay. Just try to keep this a bit clean. Whoops. I guess we're having some linear pieces. Why not? It wasn't intentional.
I should have wet this a little bit earlier. If you want intense color, I'm going to put several layers on here. And I'm going to start with the lightest green here. And because I'm working not so much on a wet surface, this is the dry surface because I'm painting in, and it's a small area. I don't have to wet the back of my card or anything. Just depends on how you're working. Wet on wet, wet on dry.
Susan, Laura, Marie. Hi, Nell and Debbie, Laura, Marie, Susan. I'm not sure who I said hi to before. Ooh, I wonder what color this is. Ultramarine blue. That's probably a pretty dark color, I bet. I also have this one, which is also ultramarine. So I've got ultramarine blue in 2 different brands. I'm going to try one in one corner and one in the other and see what happens. I think I'm going to put some wash down here, though, in this section. And I'll put this one down here. Ultramarine almost looking purple. I'm going to do the lid. And then I'll spritz this one and see if there's a different effect or if it's a different color. You see how messy it is. It gets everywhere. The little granules just want to spray everywhere. And
yeah, I think they're very colorful, and I like the idea of them. However, I did not like the delivery system on either one of them. I think I got rid of both of my potted powders like that were the Brusho, which you had to poke a hole in the top of, and the Ken Oliver.
Yeah, the Ken Oliver is messier than even, well, I don't know. The Ken Oliver is a pain because it spritzes everywhere
Yeah,
and gets, it just gets everywhere.
it does.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to pick up some of this in the middle, I get a thirsty brush. I dry my brush off and I come back and I swipe up and pull some of that color out of the middle with my brush. That's how you pull that color back.
I'm going to pop a couple of these, purples in there and see what happens. See what happens. Spritz.
You do end up with quite a bit of color in these pots. Which I like. Now, the thing about the Perfect Pearls versus, what's the other powder? Pearl-Ex. Perfect Pearls has a binder in it already. Pearl-Ex does not. So if you want to use Pearl-Ex, you need a binder.
Yeah, which you can usually use gum arabic for that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about the Perfect Pearls. I mean, the Pearl-Ex. I do have some of that.
Yeah.
But that to me is not a water-soluble media because it's not affected by water. It's, it does its own thing with just mica powder.
A mica, and you can mix it in with other things. So if you wanted to add some shimmer, you could do that. Like on this, let's see, this is Perfect Pearls. This has a binder in it. So I could, oh, and there it goes. I tapped it and it tapped out on my paper already. I want to tap the top of this just to knock the powder back into the container. And I'm just going to dampen my brush and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that Perfect Pearls.
Oh, yuck.
And I can paint with that.
Stain my silicone. I think this might maybe stain my silicone mat.
That's really weird because that purple is not staying purple.
All right, what happened to my brushes? All right, making a mess over here. Let's get out some of these.
Maybe I still have a little bit of
magical ones.
Green in my brush. Let me try that again.
Let's see, what colors do I have? That's purple and that's blue, although that's beautiful. So remember, what was it? Oh, it was our live pop-up that we did on the weekend. We were playing with those color shift paints. The Magicals kind of remind me of that same type of an idea. They have more than one color in them and they are shimmery, and so they shift back and forth. I don't know how I should try to do it. Should I tap them on? Should I pick them up with water? I think I'm going to pick them up with water because I can put a little bit of water in the lid where the powder has gotten itself to. It's usually how I do it. I think it's been a long time.
Which is why it's good to come back and visit some of these things. Somebody was asking me this morning about studio organization stuff. And I was thinking that, I've been working on this for several months now, getting my place to where I want it to be. And they were asking about, how to organize. And it really depends on how you work. Because not everybody works the same way.
Yeah, there's no possible way that the way that I like it is absolutely the same as the way you like it, or how we can really tell anybody how to do it exactly, you know?
Yeah, because even Shell sorts more by color.
I sort everything by color. I'm completely color driven on everything that I do.
And I do not. So, right away there's a difference. So depends on how you work.
Oh, that's a pretty color. Let's try this Ramblin' Rose Pink. See what color that is.
Let's see what color this one turned out to be. Oh, that's a nice green.
So I don't know if you guys can see the shimmer, but it is shimmery for sure. And of course, with all watercolor, whether it's powder or whether it's regular watercolor, the amount of water that you put in it varies the color. So if you want a lighter color, you just put more water. If you want a darker color, you put more pigment. That's as simple as it is. Now this one looks completely different. This one is Autumn Maple Crimson. I think I'm just going to scoop a little bit, put it in my lid because it doesn't have very much in the lid there. I'm just going to drip a little water in there into the lid. And we'll just see what we get.
So let's do a little shadowing with this blue tone, if I can get it up out of here.
So I think most people think of watercolor as like a landscape or a flower, a flower thing or something, you know. At least that's what I think of when I think of someone who makes watercolor. I think of that. So I was trying to do something that is totally not that. That's what I was doing.
So there's a couple I've got drying. I'm going to get my watercolor paper wherever I put it.
Skin just got a little bit of a break. I'll come back in with this other one.
And I like to use this on some of these collage stamps. These are some of my favorite stamps, these collage stamps.
One of these has, there we go. This was, when I used to use these magicals, this was my favorite color, Tibetan Poppy Teal. It's an awesome color. At least I remember it being an awesome color.
Yeah.
I haven't used them in a while.
All right, I had my, there it is, my embossing powder out here. And I didn't put the foam under this, so let's hope that this took. We'll see. Yep, pretty good.
Spritzer, where did my spritzer go? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay.
That one. Let's do this one. Maybe get my foam pad this time.
I guess I should look and see what people are talking about, huh?
I'm just stamping with Versamark ink.
All right. I want to get some of this purple over here. Purple down here.
And let's do one more for good measure.
Purple, purple. Purple is a good color.
It might be. What did I do?
So now I have a little palette, and I'm mixing the colors. See? A couple drops of clear water with a dropper. I can make like a liquid watercolor, and then I can just pick that up with my brush. I was hoping maybe I could get a pretty deep orange going there.
I should probably do a couple on some black paper too. There we go.
So these things need to dry. How long is it going to take? That's the question. Super annoying.
So let me get my heat tool out again. Get this embossing powder put away.
Dry, dry, dry. I wonder if I could just put just a touch of yellow in that, see what happens. Let's go back to this one. This one needs something else. I don't know what.
Heat tool is being fussy today.
So now pick up a little bit of that and mix it in here and see what color it is. It's almost a brown. It's not exactly what I expected. All right.
So I think I'm going to get a piece of black paper.
Okay, this one is indigo. Indigo should be really, really dark. Purple, right?
These are not working so well as water soluble. Might work better if I were to mix it into some water and add it to something. Let's try that. Let's add a little bit of just a cup of water. And can't get the lid off of that. So I guess I'll use a different color. I'm going to tap a little of that in to the water. And then, oh, yeah, make a mess. Need something to stir with here. So if I do this as a watery background on this black paper, just a wash. And get a flat brush because I want to do a wash with this and see what we get.
All right, I think I'm gonna have to just set these aside for a second. And have a little bit of a puddle right there.
So when that dries down, I can come back and stamp on top of that. And that should have the metallic shimmer to it. If I want to add the metallic shimmer to this piece, whoops, I just dropped that on the floor.
Let's play with some flowers while we're waiting for that to dry. So over on Instagram, I saw there's so many challenges going on in February. I saw one that was called hashtag, what was it? Let me look. Hashtag 28 February flowers. And of course, I like flowers. I'm sure we all like flowers.
Yeah, that's Amanda Evanston.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, well, sometime since we're doing watercolor all month, I could make some sort of flower thing at some point. And today is tulips. And so I thought I could make a tulip, and that's what I was messing with earlier. And there's this thing called 3-dot flowers, which is supposed to be a way to make quick flowers for collage fodder that you can cut out and use them. Let's see, I've got brushes all over me. This is going to stain me. Oh my gosh. How did I get so yucky? I didn't even touch anything, hardly.
Easy enough.
So pretty. That's a pretty color. It's kind of dark for what I wanted. I could take another piece and just kind of go over it and pick some of it up on another piece. And that would be called a monoprint. And you would get this weird line through the middle of it. That's very strange. Let's see if I can pull out some of it. That's fun. And of course, because I don't have any Frisket on this, I can dry it.
Let that one dry down. And this one, a little bigger brush. I want to wet this down a little bit.
This one, I might try to get just a little bit of salt on there. See if I can get some interesting.
And let's do, once I got my bigger brush,
Whoops, bang. Sorry, guys. Smack to the top of my thing. Real good. Let that dry. Sometimes putting salt on watercolor makes a really cool effect because the salt absorbs the pigment. This is still wet, of course, but when I brush off the salt, there should be marks there from the salt. That's just sea salt. So let's get back to this guy. So this should be dry. Yeah. And I guess it's kind of darker than I wanted it. But maybe I can make a dark tulip. Got a couple different colors here that are pretty dark. So you start out with 3 dots and try to get some pretty good dots going. So you see you got some nice pigmented water there. And a triangle shape. Then you take some clean water and you spread it with the clean water on your brush. And if you have enough pigment, then you get an interesting thing going on. So that's kind of a freeform tulip situation. And if you want to get a little bit of lightness at the top and you didn't succeed, you can get a thirsty brush and just pick up some of that color so you get a good variation. And you can even take in another color, like say this yellowy orange, and just drop it into the top and let it blend, which is fun. I like to do that. And then I have some of this, and I can just get, I didn't mean to make that drop, but
Okay. Let's get some color on that butterfly. Lost my rag again.
so tulips have long leaves, from what I remember. I got this lighter green color.
Hi, Peggy. I'm letting this these colors kind of blend together on here.
I think that's the number one thing about watercolors, letting the colors wash into each other. That's what I like.
Yeah. So
This thing has a huge puddle though.
get some of this.
Soak up some of it. I almost feel like my tulip is too small now.
Come back with a little of that. I'll use that brush. I'll do the other brush.
Okay, what's this color? Was this one? Which is Merlot. Merlot is the name of it. It does kind of look like red wine, doesn't it?
Okay, so let's add some of this lighter blue, turquoisey color.
What was that noise?
Sorry, that's my early warning system. Somebody's at the door.
Huh. Is it nurse day?
Not until later. She shouldn't be here until this afternoon. But who knows, you know. People do what they're going to do.
True. Anyway, that's messing around with flowers. Let's see what we got.
I want a little
If any of these are
contrast
dry yet.
too.
That one's not. Maybe I can just give it just a tiny bit of a dry.
This one looks almost like a fluorescent. We'll see what it does. I haven't had these out in a while, so I'm not sure what we're going to get. It's still pretty pale.
Where's my eraser thing? I don't know if this is dry enough to do this. This gum remover thing that helps take off the frisket, supposedly. Yuck, I don't think it's dry. It's just turning into snot bubbles.
Ooh. Yeah, sometimes when it gets old, I have not had a lot of luck with keeping it on the shelf. I did buy a frisket pen.
Yeah, I have a frisket. Every one of the things that I've ever bought for frisket dries out.
Yeah.
Let's have a different eraser. Oh, this one's kind of hard now.
Just shows how long we've been around doing this crap.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, there we go. Now I'm getting it off.
Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of green.
Oh, it came off. I don't want it to, I want the white to be white. I don't want it to be yuckiness.
Then, it's still pretty wet. I'm going to come back with something to tone that down with. So I'm going to grab just the slightest bit of red because that green is pretty bright. So I want to go to the opposite side of the color wheel. Tone it back.
Ugh. Well, had I known that my frisket was gross, I would have, of course, gotten a new one. Well, no, I wouldn't have because I've been in bed for 4 days. But you know what I'm saying. In theory, I would have got a fresher frisket. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm still getting marks. I'm just kind of tearing up the paper a little bit, which always annoys me. Like, why don't you just stay there, paper? It's because it's wet still. But I just wanted to get something somewhat done.
Still not happy with that. I'm going to put in some more, that's just too bright. I'm going to put in some more shadowy.
How much time do we have left? A lot of time. Maybe I should just set this aside and try to let it dry some more. Probably should. You see me doing that, right?
Yeah.
I want to see what it looks like. I have no patience. Ugh.
All right, so we got that. What else do I need to paint yet? Oh, I need to put some Need some kind of shadowing on this. And I think also going to mix up a little bit of this green. So it's very emerald green with a nice dark blue.
Look.
Tone that back a little bit. Let's see what I've got here.
Fingers are probably the best thing for removing it, but it's also hard on your fingers. Kind of wrecks them a little bit. Torn bits. Still a bit on there.
Okay, and this, got one more to colorize.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Hey, hi, Jamie. How you doing, girl?
Oh, there's Margelle. Hi.
Margelle, good morning.
Wow, we've got a big crowd today.
That's good.
Yep. Okay, this stupid masking fluid is off that, I think, pretty much. So you get the idea that I've left some white on my piece. And I'm not going to do the other one right now because it's just going to be just as bad. Let it dry a little bit longer. But I've got a little bit of that shimmer in there. I'm tempted to actually make more shimmer, but I might go with mixed media. Look here. Well, no, I can't because we're only doing powders and pots. I have to behave, don't I?
Do ya?
I don't know.
That's a bummer.
Do I have to behave?
Yeah.
What are the rules? I used watercolor.
Rules? Rules are made to be broken.
True. You have a point. What to do? What to do?
All right, so
I like it. But maybe I would like it more if I could go mixed media because, you know, that's who I am.
brighter.
That's who I am, people.
Gotta be who you are.
Should we take a vote? What do you guys think? Should I go mixed media on it or should I just leave it watercolor? Votes? Votes? Anyone? Anyone? Now thinks I should add collage. She knows me too well.
Yeah. I think she's got your number.
Yeah, kind of. Wasn't really prepared for that today, but hey, I've got paper right next to me, so you could find something for sure. What have I got? How about some bright pink? What if I just put some bright pink in there?
Pots are drying out way too fast here.
Spritzy, spritzy, spritz, spritz.
Oh, well, that didn't work out well. I didn't get that. All right, forget that. I will cut that out for collage. Try that again. Something else.
Scraps.
No, I might have to actually invest in a new embossing tool.
I've had to do that recently.
Well, this is, I don't know. How many years ago did I buy that sucker? That's a Marvy.
A Marvy? Oh, yeah. My Marvy blew up.
It's been a long time coming.
It went kablooey. Yep, yep.
Somewhere I have embossing powder, right?
I'll bet you do. Gonna need something to glue these down with.
My little cheap dollar store boxes are falling apart too. Oh well.
You know?
Why does that not want to go on there? Good enough.
Oops.
I will tell you that with my eyesight, black is the hardest color to emboss. All right, I'm going to cut this down because I have an idea for this one. I'm going to go to 5 by 3 1/4. And I'm going to grab a heart.
Get these pieces on here.
See if this one will fit on there.
Come on, you beastie.
Don't know if I like where it is. Maybe I should just draw it. Kind of wanted it up in here. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to take another piece of card.
That's a little something, something to it.
And just cut. Punch card. Or not. Punch a heart. Oh my goodness, there we go.
Where did my Princeton brush go? That's not it. I want my good brush. I want to love.
I can do this.
Oh, there it is.
I got a couple of options. I could mount something on the front, or I could just, well, I should probably draw it before I do that, because you know me, I will mess it up in no time flat. Take my pencil, go around that. So now I've got my heart where I wanted it to start with. And I'm going to get my little cutting mat and a craft knife.
Like you do.
And just go around. Get it where I want it. One of the problem with punches is, unless it's one of those punches that goes into the center of a page, you can't put it everywhere you want it. So this is an option for you. Die cuts. I thought I had heart die cuts. I looked everywhere. I've got little bitty tiny ones. I do not have nice big fat ones. Can you imagine that? A craft supply I don't own.
I think I have a lot of die cuts that are hearts, I think.
Well, see, I started out doing card making, and I did punches first. And so I was always convinced I didn't need all of those dies because I had punches.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Way back when, the dies were really expensive.
Thank you, Ingrid. You're right. It's getting more shellish.
Hi, Marilyn. I don't think I said hi to you.
Doggo, I'm not letting you out right now.
Okay, almost.
Just want to get this little bit more white in the middle here. Because it seems like it's got, look.
Okay, so there's my heart. And need my eraser because I've got my pencil line on there. I don't want that. And if you have any little cutting Klingon things, you can always just use a emery board. Clean up your edge a little bit. That will take that paper fluff right down. And then I stuck my finger in something. just like me. There we go. Clean that off. All right. So now, before I stick my finger in that powdery stuff, what I'm thinking is I can put something behind here. So let me get some more watercolor paper. This is that, okay, so this is that paper that we did earlier that's dried down now that had the perfect pearls on it. I mean, you could use something like that behind there. Still don't like that cut there. Just not like it punched.
Yeah.
Smooth that out. Okay, so that's one option. I'm thinking go a little more traditional. And I'll just use some of these things I've got out here. So this is the shape we want. And I've got some paper somewhere. Here we go. Let's get a stencil. And what stencil do you want to use, Peg? Well, I don't know.
There's so many options.
I like that one. What's that going to look like behind there? Kind of cool. Okay. No.
I think I'm kind of done with this one, maybe.
That one's too scrolly.
Just trying to clean up some of this dirty stuff. But
oh, you know what? Carla's are small. What does she have? Let me pull my Carla box down.
all right, I think I'm pretty much done with that one. What did I do with all those?
Oh, that's got X's and O's. There we go. X's and O's.
X's and O's. Do, 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 do.
So I'm gonna load up my brush with some of that bright fuchsia.
Like you do.
Like you do. And I'm gonna watercolor my stencil background. And I want to add a little bit this color in there too.
Well, shall we attempt to take off? Whoops. My pen landed right in the thing.
Okay.
Some of this frisket.
Shifted, so it must be time to lift Not a large statement, is it? So you know what you do with that. You dry that and then you add another color. I'm going to go back here. And I'm just going to wash. Oops, got to have water. Going to wash.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
They should sell Frisket in smaller, less expensive
Yes, they
bottles. It's not going to last. It's just going to tear your paper like a jerk.
Okay, so now do that smaller brush. I know I had it out here. There it is.
Erg. I'm sure you guys are having lots of fun watching me remove Frisket.
Why, yeah.
How fun is that?
Okay, and a little bit of green. Okay. So
This one's being a little bit more successful, though.
what do I do with my dimensional adhesive?
I don't know. You didn't take it, I promise.
Well, I didn't think you did.
Actually, I drove over there to Iowa and I took your dimensional adhesive. Okay. Try to be more precious on this one to remove the tape.
Sticky stuff.
With the exception of this area over here, we got a lot of tearing going on. I think this one turned out pretty good.
Yeah, you're sure getting the weather, Vicki. That's, yeah. Anything right for Texas. Okay, so I've got some double-sided adhesive. I want to figure out where I want this to go. I think I want some more dark. See how I am? Just can't make up my mind.
It's definitely a bit of a tearing situation going on here. Glue that back down.
Okay.
Might need just a bit of clousiness. I don't know. I like this one better. But it could be the colors, because, you know, I tend to like the cooler colors.
Yeah, I like that better. So get my Big Daddy scissors. Cut that down. Where it's manageable. Like that. And okay, I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going to get out a water-soluble crayon. And go along the edge of the heart. And the card. Huh. Helps if you have fingernails too. Need to get a card base for this one. I haven't finished out those other ones, but oh well. Must not have got it lined up quite right. A lot of clunking going on upstairs. I bet she came early today.
Yeah, since the doorbell and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get a card.
Vicky's giving us a 5-minute warning. We apparently only have 5 minutes left.
This is kind of a pearlized paper from Denami Design. I think it's very pretty.
I remember them from back in the day.
They were a very elegant company.
Yeah.
Well, I think this stamp, I think that this stamp is actually a Denami stamp. The love, maybe, I don't know. Where's the stamp making? I can tell you. No, it's not. It's a penny black.
Oh, Penny Black had some dynamic stuff too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let that sit on there while I get a few other things. What did I do with that love one? Oh, here. These need finishing out too. Nope, it's not going to fit in there.
That totally didn't work. That indigo is strong. Remember what I told you about the brushes not being able to be covered up. These are going to bleed through the Posca pen a little bit. It'll be lighter there, but it won't be, perfectly white. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
Just trying to kind of, so you can see up here where I just splattered the white Posca pen. It's already, the indigo's already bled through it. See? Right there. Indigo's strong pigment. So anyway, I think we're about done. Yep, we're done. Let's see if I can get these both in frame. So I hope you guys enjoyed Powders and Pots today. Next week we'll be doing, I think, are we doing just pans and palettes next week? I think so. I think we're doing pans and palettes next week. And boy, do we have some palettes because we both are a little bit obsessed with buying watercolors.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And these things, I'll probably cut them out to use for. Oh, look, that's a very interesting background with that salt. Let me brush the salt off. You get kind of this spotty looking. That's an interesting watercolor background right there. So yeah, that's what we did today.
Yeah. So
Hope you guys
I hope
had
you guys
fun.
had fun and are looking forward to doing things with water soluble, water, whatever.
Yes, we hope that you're looking forward to it.
So we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.